Ryan Fitzpatrick is most likely to win the division out of all of these quarterbacks. Fitzmagic. And he's going to end his playoff drought. Look, had they not signed Fitzpatrick, I would have probably taken Dallas because they have Dak. And Fitzpatrick is just good enough to be dangerous to your team, to the team he plays for, because he can make you believe, and then by the end of the year you go, there's a reason that when he's a starter, he's not a franchise guy, and a lot of times he winds up as a backup. That's true. But think of the team he's joining, guys. Like, he's competent. He sometimes makes bad decisions. He takes some risks. But he's a competent quarterback. He's a competent, professional, sometimes starting NFL quarterback. Who's he starting for? He's starting for a team whose defense was good enough to give the Bucs problems. Like, that was not an easy game for the Super Bowl champion Bucs, and that was during a great playoff run on the way to the Super Bowl. He's starting for a team that has some pretty good Gibson and McLaurin and Logan Thomas. Like, they have guys who can play on offense at all the skills positions. They're not setting the world on fire, but they're pretty good. And they have a savage defense. So when you look around at all the other teams in the division, the Eagles right now are a mess. The Giants, still like every year, it's the same thing. The Cowboys have a very good quarterback who they just paid so much that they will not have the money to address other needs on the team, especially on defense. Like, they better hit with every single draft pick. I will reserve judgment ultimately until after the draft. But at this moment, Washington, which is unusual, it's not usually the case, Washington's the best team in the NFC East.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you about Washington being the best team in the NFC East if you take out the quarterbacks. So I think that a team around them and adding William Jackson to their secondary is very important. That D-line, everyone knows about how talented Payne, Sweat, Young, those guys are. It's a great team. And McLaurin, you mentioned him, Gibson, that's a great team. You took a shot at the Giants, which I actually think the Giants, with the exception of their offensive line, they're loaded as far as the skill positions are concerned on offense, and they have a very good defense. You're right about the Eagles, but this is all a conversation if we take the quarterbacks out of this. That's the only way that anyone can consider any of these other teams if you take the quarterbacks out of this. And we know, you said in the first segment of this show, that this is a quarterback-driven league. This division has one great quarterback in it. It's Dak Prescott. I understand that defense was worse.
Go ahead.
They added Dan Quinn, a new defensive coordinator who was the head coach of the Falcons at the beginning of last year. Dak's a great quarterback. That's a whole nother conversation. But there's one quarterback in this entire division that anyone can have any faith in. No one's won this division back-to-back seasons since 2004. And I don't think that one of the most volatile, I guess is the right word, volatile quarterbacks in Ryan Fitzpatrick that can win a game and lose a game for your team. I don't think adding him, replacing Taylor Heineke or Alex Smith, I don't think this makes this team that much better. I think adding Dak Prescott back to the Dallas Cowboys makes them significantly better. I think adding a defensive coordinator in Dan Quinn, who has been in the league recently, as opposed to Mike Nolan, who was their defensive coordinator before, who had been out of the league for a while, I think that adds up to actual gains on the defense. So if I look around this division for a quarterback that I can trust, there's only one. And it ain't Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I don't got the Washington football team having a repeat of last season. That defense is going to fall back some because that's what defenses do.
Well, look, you could talk about Dak and the fact whether or not he's a great quarterback, and I think he is trending toward being a great quarterback. I don't think he's there yet. I think he's a very good quarterback. Top 10-ish, but not top 5, let's say. The point is, he was on a loaded Cowboys team a couple of years ago, when the Eagles were suffering injuries everywhere and Carson Wentz was having a very overrated second half in a very weak division. And Dak won 8 games and failed to win the division. So, and by the way, now he's coming off an injury, a big injury where he missed a whole year. And if anything, the Cowboys have regressed since the 8-win team. That offensive line is not your slightly older cousin's offensive line anymore. Dom, this is not the offensive line where, 4 out of 5 years they spent first-round draft picks? Like, everyone talks about the O-line. Dallas, the Jones, especially Stephen Jones, put their money where their mouth was in terms of draft capital. First-round pick for offensive line. That ain't the same line anymore. So that was really the strength of the team more than any single element. That was it. Not the same. The defense is a mess. It's upside down. Either the linebacker tandem, or the core, which a couple of years ago on paper, I was like, that's the best in the league, has completely underperformed. Now, because of attrition and everything else, they're not the same anymore. I used to think that was a strength. Their secondary needs help. Like, this is a team with a lot of holes in it when they didn't have those holes. They went 8-8 with Dak. I don't see why you're so impressed with the idea that Dak, who's now, that was on his rookie deal. Now he's getting $40 million a year. You think they're going to be better than that?
Yeah, I'm not sitting here saying that the Cowboys are some great franchise. I'm saying that Dak is a quarterback that I can believe in. You mentioned how they didn't win the division that year. How many divisions has Ryan Fitzpatrick won? None. His entire career. He's never led a team to win the division. Yeah, so he's never done that. So that's what I'm pointing to. And you're not going to get any argument from me about who has the better roster. It's quite clear to me that the best roster in the entire division is Washington. But I think that we all accept that the quarterback position means so much. And we all agree that Dak Prescott, maybe you could argue whether he's great or not great, whatever. That's semantics. We agree that he's the quarterback in the division that anybody would want. There's no argument there. So that's what it comes down to for me. That's why I'm leading towards Dak Prescott, because you look at division winners across the league last year or every year. It's normally the team in the division that has the best quarterback. I know that's a bit of an oversimplification, but it's not even close. Like, if it's close,
barely,
then
though.
maybe the tie goes to the See, that's where our disagreement is. That's where our disagreement is, that it's barely. Who's close to him? It's not Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's not Daniel Jones.
No. We're on a few seconds delay.
You're saying the best
Dak
quarterback
is
winning the division.
head and shoulders better than every other quarterback
gotcha.
in the NFC East. I'm saying that usually that's the case. Your point is right. The best quarterback will win, usually. I don't think it's close right now, the rosters between the Cowboys, certainly not on defense, and Washington. And I think there's a first time for everything. It's Fitz's time this year, most likely. And I'll tell you something else. It's so Dallas Cowboys to have everyone thinking they're going to win the division and then fail to do it. It's so Cowboys. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.